Hi YMCA family, my name is Wendy. Today I have a core essentials workout for you. It's going to take between 30 and 45 minutes to get through all of the bits and pieces I've got lined up. But you can just do some of it or all of it, totally up to you. You'll notice beside me, I've got a stability ball, a bender ball, and a mat. That's all you're going to need for today. And if you don't have these items, not a problem. Lots of them you can modify with other tools, like a Bosu, for example. So let's get started. We're going to start with a brief warm-up. Make sure your space is clear for the warm-up. Our core has two functions: to stabilize our spine and, of course, to mobilize our body. So we're going to start with some mobility and stability within this workout. So why don't we just start real easy with a little bit of a jog, just to get some blood flowing. Marching is also completely acceptable if you're not up for jogging. Again, just the purpose of this is to get some circulation. Maybe pick up your heels a little bit. Maybe add a little bit of pump in the arms. That's it. Let's add in a low impact jack. So a little bit bigger movement, extending out from the center of the body. So the farther you reach, the more your core has to work to stabilize the spine. Good. How about a full jack if you're comfortable? Again, increasing our heart rate and our blood flow from the center of our body into our extremities and joints. Couple more. Great. Holding still with the legs, we're just going to rotate gently side to side. You're going to gently contract through your abdominal region, and we're going to add in a bit of an extension at your shoulder. That's it. How about a reach up? Should feel muscles lengthening as we warm up. Okay, let's go from high down to low, kind of in a wood chop fashion, contracting as you move on the diagonal. One more. Good. Let's do the same thing other side. Just moving fluidly, activating core. So our core is more than just your abdominal muscles, and that's really important to know. So what muscle groups are we going to include in that? Let's hold here. A gentle reach side to side. So obviously, our rectus abdominis, or our six-pack muscles, ones right down the front, are included in our core. We also have muscles along the side, the internal and external fibers. Those are your obliques. They allow you to twist and flex side to side. Let's hinge forward. Just curving down. Let the hands dangle a second, and then just walk yourself back up, moving up the spine. Again, curving down. You can tuck your chin. So additionally, we have some internal deep muscles. So our transverse abdominals run across from hip to hip, and they hold in all your internal organs. Good, and just stay there a second. If it's comfortable, just gently move from one side to the next. And restack your spine, coming on up. Other parts of the core that you might not think of as part of your core are your gluteal muscles, your lower back, and all the muscles down the length of your spine. They all work synergistically, together that is, to support your spinal column for stabilization and motion. So we're going to start our first movement pattern here as a flow type of exercise. I'm going to move my ball out of the way to give me a little more space, because we're not going to use that till later on. So we're going to start at the back end of our space. We're going to start with just the movements in isolation and then put them together. So let's start out with an inchworm. And you might be thinking, Wendy, what does an inchworm have to do with my core? So walking myself out into plank, Holding that position, pulling my tummy in, so my belly pulling in towards the spine, contracting through my back and lightly through my glutes and thighs. So my core unit is stabilizing my spine and holding me away from the floor. Now take your time, bend your knees, carefully walk yourself back, and if you want, come back up into standing. Let's do that a couple more times. Moving in your own time. Coming out, you're breathing, hold, lengthen. Again, let's breathe. As you exhale, start that movement back. Now, I happen to be right-handed. This is my right hand. And the last 2 times, I walked forward in my inchworm with my right hand first. So now I'm going to try that with my left hand. Just giving my brain a little bit of work to do. And now I'm going to start going backwards with my right hand. Because my left hand started or initiated the movement last time. So one more time with my inchworm. Place my hand down and start the movement on the left. Hold plank. Lovely. Come down onto your knees. Add in a few push-ups. Now, if you want to do them on your feet, go ahead. Hands about shoulder width apart. Bring your chest all the way down to the floor and check where your hands line up. They should be right in line with the center of your chest. Shoulders pulled down. Slight contraction of the glutes. Firm your core. Exhale, push up. Inhale, come down. So we want to lift just like our spine does not articulate or move. So the core is bracing. One more. Excellent. Up. Okay, let's go back into plank position. And now we're going to take one foot and tap it just off the mat. So I'm going to tap to the side and center. Tap to the side and center. So here, my core muscles are working, of course, to hold me off the ground, but also to stabilize my pelvis. Because as you move to the side, your hips want to dip and sway. So this is a really challenging movement. And if you feel you need to, you can do this from your knees. Especially if you've had recent abdominal surgery, or you've had a baby, or you have some lower back injuries. Okay, let's stop there. Sit back, recover. So our wrists are getting a little tired. Reset. And again, you can be on your toes. And I'm going to take my feet just a little wider apart to create a bigger base of support. Now touch shoulder with your hands. Now, as you're doing this, we're going to try not to rotate your torso at all. Keeping your shoulders and your hips equal distance from the ground. You can feel how your body wants to twist, right? So yeah, lots of stabilization happening. Your transverse abdominals working. Those are the deep abdominals. Stretching across from one hip to the other. And your obliques. Last one. Bring your knees down and sit back. Okay. So now you know all the components of this flow or movement series. We're going to put them together because honestly, life doesn't happen stationary. Life happens in movement, and it's oftentimes in these weird little movements that we throw your back out or something goes astray. So let's start here. Back into your space. Deep breath in. Reach. Exhale into forward fold. Sounds a little like yoga. Walk yourself out into plank. Excellent. If you want, knees down, push up. Lift. Tap right. Tap left. Shoulder tap. And tap. Walk yourself back. And breathe in and up. Okay, let's try it again. Hinge. You can just flow movement into movement. With or without the knees, push up. Tap either on your knees or on your toes. Wide base of support. Tapping your shoulders. Walk back. Keep going. I'm going to do it the other way just so you can see from a different perspective. Breathe in. Exhale. Plank. Push up. Tap to the side. Tap to the side. Shoulder tap. And walk back. Try it with your feet in different positions. Try a little narrower, try a little wider. What happens in your body? Tap. Tap. And walk back. We're going to try 2 more times. Again, you're modifying or progressing any of the movements as you feel your body can manage. Stabilize the shoulders, stabilize your hips. Breathe through each motion. And you'll notice I'm not looking to the camera very often because I want my head to be in neutral as well while I'm working through this. One more. Tap, tap, hands, hands, and last walk back. And come on up. Whew, good. So heart rate should still be quite high, certainly not in a cardio capacity, but body feels warm. And for some of us, our wrists felt like they really worked on that. So we could do some other exercises from that position, but we're going to give our wrists a little break and change our posture. So coming down onto the floor, I'm going to move my mic off to the side, and we're going to again break down the movements in this flowing pattern. We're going to start with a bridge. So again, giving you the side view here. Roll yourself down so you're comfortable. Bridges are an excellent movement pattern for a number of different reasons. First of all, they're really safe for most of us in most situations. Even our pregnant moms should be able to do this almost all the way through their pregnancy, depending on how long they're on their backs. Your hands are on the floor. We're going to imprint your shoulder blades down into the mat. We're going to tighten all the way across the core. Squeeze your bum and pick your hips up. Lift. Come on back down. So this time, add the breath. You're going to exhale. Inhale. Again, exhale. Now, as we're continuing through this motion, we're maintaining neutral through your abdomen. So I'm not adding a push out or a pull in of my belly. I'm just keeping everything active and integrated. So exhale up, inhale down. You can do this faster if you like. You can do it slower. You can do it one-legged. For today's purposes, we've got both feet on the ground. Up and hold. Now, if you will, pull your knees in together without actually moving them. So just activate the inner thighs. Do you feel how that moves up into the inner thigh and pelvic floor? So we have a little more activation in the perineum area. So the space from your pubic bone to your tailbone, where you were lifting up and in. Give it a little hug and release. So that's our bridge. All right, feet back down on the ground. We're going to lift your head and shoulders. Head's going to stay in neutral. If you need to, you can tuck your chin in just a tiny bit. So take a breath. Exhale, lift up. Head and shoulders are off the ground. We've now contracted what? Yes, rectus abdominis, right down here. And if you look down, you should be able to see and or feel or touch that your abdominal muscles down the front of your body are contracted, yes? Okay, now from here, we're picking up the knees and just hold. Okay, one foot down, the other foot down, head and shoulders down. Breathe in, exhale, lift the head and shoulders, scooping up, pulling your belly in. We pick up one foot, we pick up the next foot. We're just in a tabletop or a reverse tabletop position. Foot down, head down. Okay, again, breathe in. Exhale, lift. Breathe in, up. And up. Good. Down, and head down. Now, if you're stronger, you can bring both legs up together versus one at a time. So breathe in. Exhale, lift your head and shoulders. Scoop in the tummy. Breathe in. Exhale, pick up your knees. Inhale. Exhale, legs down. And head down. One more time. And you got it. So as your feet were coming up, you should have felt your transverse abdominals work and your spine staying in neutral. We're maintaining some tension through the rectus abdominis, through your obliques and transverse. Holding your legs up in space is hard work. Okay, so now we're going to put all of these pieces together. So staying on your back, we're going to do 2 bridges and then lift your head and shoulders, then your legs. Then we're going to push a leg out and then hug. Okay, here we go. Breathe in, lift up. Oh, bridge. 1 and down, bridge and down. Head and shoulders, legs out. Now right foot push away, pull it in. Did you feel that right there? Good. Now hug in and gently place it down. 2 bridges. Lift and lower. Again. Lift and lower. Head up. Feet up. Push the leg out. And in. Other leg. And in. Give it a hug. And all the way down. Let's move it a little faster. Lift. Lift, head, legs. Now push, out, out, tuck, and release. Strong through your legs, contract your glutes. Head up, and legs. Push out. Next time I'm going to switch the starting leg. Tuck in, and down. Let's go. Squeeze the glutes, activate your inner thighs. Head, legs, press out. Lots of work right there happening. Tuck in and recover. Bridge for 2. Lift, lift. Shoulders up. Legs out. Reach out. And tuck, in and down. Okay, last time, and we're going to hold the work with the legs. Shoulders up, lift, now your legs for 8, 7, right? 6, if you need some help, your hands are behind your head. Last 2. And tuck in and head down and recover. Good. It's the holding the knees up and keeping that tension active in your rectus abdominis. That's really challenging in that one. As your legs are moving, there's more force generated into your lower back for you to control. All right, we're going to come onto our side now, starting in plank. So we've already looked at the plank earlier. So have a look at our side plank. Really important on side plank, and I've got my cushier mat here beside me in case my elbow gets a little sore. But before you lift up, your elbow should be on the inside of your shoulder girdle. Again, the shoulder girdle is very delicate. We have lots of mobility and range here, but if we are holding ourselves in the wrong position for periods of time, we can get shearing forces on the shoulder and create a lot of pain and dysfunction. Okay, knee position, scoop and lift. Now you can really feel the activation of your obliques here, yes? Okay, option, picking up your arm. This is a side plank. This is lovely. If you want the hand down, that's fine too. If you'd like to make this more challenging, we're extending a leg. And of course, if you want to make it more difficult, one foot in front of the other. And then final progression here. And if you're really crazy, then the legs up. But what you need to find is the plank position that factors in the health of your shoulder, your ability to control from your rectus abdominis and align your hips, okay? So more isn't always better. Getting it right is always better. So let's find our side plank position again, starting where we feel confident. So you find you, I find me, and now pull your knee up. Whoa, and extend. If you like, bring your elbow to your knee and extend. Keep your hips facing forward, and we're staying straight at your hip as well. Good, last one, hold there, and now let's do a rotation. So turn inwards and come up. So this is a lot of work for your shoulder. Coming back up, and take a break. Good. So we got through all of the important pieces of the pattern that we're going to put together. Let's see how we do. You know what? Before we do the other side, or before we do the flow, let's move to the other side and practice. Because our shoulders are not equal, right? You may have an injury on one side and be perfectly fine on the other. So let's re-establish that lovely line. So you can imagine you're on a piece of plywood or a balance beam. Pull up, activating your obliques. Option, add the arm. See how you can do on one leg. See how you do here. Option here. And option. Okay, so now find your position. And we're going to add the knee lift. In and out. How's that? And you're breathing. So your obliques on this side are working to keep you from collapsing to the floor. And the obliques on the top are helping you with the movement of pulling your knee in and your elbow. Good. Hold there. Now rotate. Pulling in. Coming up. And it is okay to have different positions for these different components. And relax. Excellent. Okay. So let's put it all together. We're going to start in regular plank and then move into our side plank. So fingers spread wide. I'm going to do the first round on my knees. So right here, hold. Turn onto the side. Great. Lift your knee in and extend out. Now add in rotation. Back into plank. And rest for a moment. Good. Option, side, knee, rotate, back up. Good. Back to plank and take a rest down on your knees. I'm going to go the other way. Lift, side plank, bring your knee in, and out. Now rotate. Yeah. Plank and knees down. Good. I'm going to do it one more time that way. Knees up if you like. Side plank. Knee comes in. Extend. Rotate. Back up. Back to plank. And knees down. Great. Now we're going to alternate. Lift to the side. Bring your knee in on your knee or on your foot. Rotate. Back to plank. Tap the knees down for the break. Reset. Side plank. Bring your knee up. Rotate. Open. Plank. And knees down, recover. 2 more times. Strong through your core. All of that. Yes, breathe. Stabilizing the shoulders, stabilizing your hip. There's some mobility right there. Yes, plank. And knees down. Final round. Exhale. Turn to the side. Knee in. Extend. Rotate. release it all the way back. Woo! Again, a lot of work on your wrists. So it's totally fine to do any of those components just on their own. All right, we're gonna move on. I have some single exercises for us to try. First one is an earthquake, which just happens to be one of my most favorites using the bender ball. So if you haven't got a bender ball at home, you can try this with a cushion, or if you have a foam roller, you can pop the foam roller into your back for support. Okay, move my microphone out of the way, taking the ball into my lumbar spine. So right in there, kind of wedging it in, and then leaning back and shoulders back. So check in and see, how does this feel in your body? Does it feel like you're straining either neck, shoulders, abs in the front, or your hips? If so, take the ball out of your back and roll it more into the center of your back. Does that feel a little more comfortable for you? Check in. Okay, and if that works, you're gonna stay with it. If not, what about if we move the ball in between the shoulder blades? So the more reclined you are, the less pressure on your abdominal muscles. So again, depending on how fit you are, any trauma or surgery you've had in your abdominal region, you're going to want to make this easier for yourself. All right, find your favorite. Reset your posture. I'm going to just pick my feet up off the ground and dig in gently with my heels for support and balance. Rolling shoulders back, neutral in your head, pulling slightly away from the ball, and then gently pushing in. Exhale and inhale. So this is very similar to a crunching motion. However, it is a whole lot safer on our lower back. So pulling up and pushing back. One thing that you'll find often is that your hip flexors want to take over this movement. So if you need to, just straighten your legs out. And the hip flexors calm down quite a bit, and we get more recruitment in your rectus abdominis. Okay, sit up, hold. So we've got just a little bit of pressure in the ball. Turn to the side, center. Now turn the other way. What do you feel? Your obliques. Yeah. Other side. And center. Now let's go quicker. Side, center, side, center. Take a break anytime you need to, especially if you're feeling tension in your neck or shoulders. And a little quicker, taking a pause out in the middle. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Grab your legs, pull yourself forward, allow for release and recovery. Okay, let's go back into our earthquake position. Basically, it's a supported V-sit, because you start to feel the earth shake and quake. Okay, set it up. Arms are slightly elevated, and now we're gonna pull back, like a bow and arrow, draw back. There's a slight rotation in your shoulders. And if you need to, adjust the ball either closer towards the shoulders or deeper into your lower back. 4, 3, 2, nice. And now take it a little bit bigger. Sweet. And I'm gonna lift. Just an inch, just so that the pressure comes off of the ball behind my back. How you doing with this? Woo! Things are firing up for me. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Come on up, release and recover. Fantastic. So rectus abdominis, those muscles right down the front working really hard. Transverse abdominis from hip bone to hip bone, pulling all your internal organs in and stabilizing your hips. And then your obliques, adding that rotational motion. All your core muscles are working here. So good. All right, let's try one more. So I'm going to move the ball up my back a little bit. So it's right in between my shoulder blades. And reset. The reason I want to be back is because I want to entice my legs to come off the floor. So picking up 1, picking up 2, and again, transverse are active. Head and shoulders neutral, shoulders back, push out, and in. So we did this lying down on the floor. Remember in our second flowing. But now, we have a different feeling since our head is not resting. 4 more. 3, 2, and 1. Hug that in. Releasing any tension in the lower back. So it's so important that your lower back is in neutral. If I do this with my hips up, there's a whole lot of pressure into the vertebrae of the lumbar spine. So reset in neutral, pick your legs up, and this time we'll push both legs out together if you can, and pull back in. And you might not push your legs so that they go straight at the knee, that's okay. You find what works in your body. Exhale, inhale. Anytime we pull your knees into the chest, we're activating the rectus abdominis, but initiating from the bottom instead of the top. Last 2. Good, and 1 more. Yes, bring that in. Awesome. There's lots of other things you can do with your bender ball behind your back and in other places along the side. But that's all I'm going to show you for today. We want to move on. Next exercise, stir or reverse crunch. We are going to use this one more time. Okay, so all the way down, but this time the ball is going underneath your hip. So we're going to use that bridge motion and then place the ball directly underneath the center of your pelvis. And you may need to kind of move around until you find the right spot and you feel well balanced. Tip for you, the squishier your ball is, the easier this exercise is going to be. The more inflated or firmer, the harder it's going to be because we're going to be balancing. So we're going to pick up one foot and then pick up the other one and hold. So finding neutral here, activate your rectus abdominis, tighten up internally across your transverse abdominals. Now you're going to pull your knees into your chest, pull, and see if you can lift your hips off the ball, put it back in, and then bring your knees back over your hips. Okay, so pull in, lift up, back down, and in. So this is a really great way to activate your transverse abdominals without momentum and swaying. So typically when you see people doing a reverse crunch, they hike or hoist or swing their knees up. So they're really using momentum and not a lot of actual muscle contraction. So I'm going to add in a little more lift. And because I'm comfortable, I'm going to add the extension of the hip. So lift. I don't want to lift so far that my ball rolls away. And I want to bring my hips down as slowly as possible because it's in the deceleration or the return of the hips to the ground where a lot of the core work happens. Pulling in. And it's a slow pull in. If I had the right tools, I could also put a band around my ankles and anchor it to something to have additional resistance. But I'm telling you, gravity with this for me right now is plenty. I'm going to do one more and call that enough. And back down. So that is your reverse crunch with handy dandy little bender ball. The little green ball that does it all. Why is it called bender ball? Because the person that invented it, Leslie Bender, put her name on it. All right, and 2 more exercises for you. We're going to bring our stability ball in. You were probably wondering when I was going to play with this. The next exercise is called stir the pot. Your wrists have had a break, your shoulders have had a break. That's why we're putting this one in now, because we should be relatively fresh. However, the rest of us is tired. We're gonna start with our elbows in the center of the ball. And I'm gonna give myself some space. Now I'm using a yoga mat because I can have the ball and my feet on the mat, and I'm not gonna worry about my mat going sliding away. Always a safety concern anytime we're working with balls and mats. And okay, so set yourself up. I'm gonna pick my knees up, hold in plank here. Now really slowly, I'm gonna draw a circle with my elbows. And all this is core stabilization. As my elbows start to go forward, I feel more work. Good, stop. Let's go the other way. If you're starting to feel this in your lower back, come down onto your knees. You're still pushing into the ball. I can still get great activation without the stress to my back. And then as you become a little stronger, try it with one foot up, then try it with both feet up. And hold. Knees come down. Ball rolls out in front. Give her a nice stretch and recovery. Let's try again. This is an exercise you don't have to do for long periods of time because you fatigue very quickly. So let's reset. In your position, stir around. Your elbows are your stir stick. Go the other way. So squeeze a little bit through your glutes, contract through your back muscles, and hold. Knees down and reach out. So depending on how fatigued you are, if you're feeling really tired, stop here. If you want to give it a couple more rounds, sneak those in while I set up the next exercise. The reason we don't want to overdo that one is because it's very fatiguing in the lower back. Now our final exercise, bird dog. I've done this before with you if you've done some of my other sessions. We start on all fours and set everything up really firmly. Imagine you're gonna have a 6-year-old jump onto your back and you're gonna walk them around the room. So you wanna create a really strong, stable back and utilize your abdominals. So we're gonna pull up from the tummy. Pick your favorite leg. I'm gonna start with the leg closest to the camera, and that's gonna extend out behind you. And then the opposite arm is gonna extend out in front. This comes back in. Inhale, exhale, push out. Inhale, come in. Exhale, reach. Keep going. So while we're in this motion, we've got a contraction through your glutes. You're lengthening the spine, and we're using all the spinal stabilizer, the erector spinae group, as well as maintaining great posture in your lumbar spine. So it's important that when we work the front side of the body, we also work the back. That's it. Breathe out. Head is in neutral. So if I was to lay a 2x4 on the back of your head down to your tailbone, we should have a connection point at the head, a connection point at the mid-back, and a connection point in your hips or pelvis. Hold and stay. Now draw a square. Go out, down, in, up. Out, down, in, up. So you can be strong in your abs and weak in your back. So then overall your core function will be very poor. One more. Good. And release. Cat stretch to recover that. Cut your tailbone. Let your head drop. Okay, reset. Other side. And I'll just turn around. So I've got the working leg facing you. Stabilize. Hands right under your shoulders. Knees right under your hips. Working leg extends. Working arm extends. And then reach as far out with both as you can. Come in. Exhale, extend. Inhale, come in. Exhale, reach. Now, oftentimes, when you see people doing leg lifts, they lift ridiculously high, and then their hip loses its positioning, which causes shearing forces on the vertebrae of your spine, which is not wonderful. So we only want to lift to about parallel to the floor. Out and hold, stay and lengthen. Now draw your square. Go out, down, in, up. So I'm doing the same thing with my arm. This is creating a contraction across the diagonal of my body. One more. And bring that in. Cat stretch. And release. One more time. Cat, cat. Good. Sit back into child's pose. Reach your hands forward. Hips to your heels. Couple deep breaths in. Feeling good. Have a seat. Now you'll notice we didn't do a single crunch. Crunches are not super functional, and nor are they spine healthy. Yeah, we like the feel of them because we can get an awesome burn of the rectus abdominis, but they also are not especially great at recruiting other core musculature. So for that reason, I will sometimes put crunches and their friends, the crunch family of movements, into some of my core training, but it doesn't make up the bulk of my core training. Because I don't know about you, but having a healthy spine at this season in my life is more important than having a six-pack. And at the end of the day, I'm not going to get a six-pack by doing crunches. That comes with all the training, including diet and exercise. Take one more stretch over to the side, friends. So, yes, six-packs look lovely on models. For most individuals, it's very difficult to attain in a healthy manner. Friends, I hope you enjoyed today's Core Essentials workout. Feel free to pick and choose any of these exercises and make your own core workout. Be sure to include exercises that activate not only our favorite rectus abdominis, but our obliques, transverse abdominals, and all the muscles through the spine and your glutes. Thanks for joining me today.